Hi, thank you for joining us today for an episode on UPOT. Today we are here with Dana, who's going to be telling us a little bit about her journey with medical cannabis. Dana, I want to thank you so much for joining me here today so that we could sit down and give a testimony so that legislators can formulate better laws and that we can also help other patients to help with their treatments. So Dana, today I'm going to ask you just a few questions and take your time to answer them. Give us as much detail as you can for these questions so that other patients that are treating like diseases and like conditions like yourself and pain conditions, that they'll be able to also have the help they need for medical cannabis. So my first question to you, Dana, is going to be, what are you treating?
Well, first, thank you so much for inviting me to be here. It's definitely an honor. I am actually treating extreme nausea. I also actually have chronic pain as well.
Now, with chronic pain, a lot of patients are treating chronic pain throughout our state. However, pain is just a qualifier. It doesn't let us know how you have that pain, what kind of pain it is, and where it stems from. Can you tell us a little bit about your pain condition?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually a cheerleader for most of middle school and high school. And we used to do stunts, and I used to be a base, and we would run for miles at a time. In a couple of those incidents, I actually broke my each ankle 2 times each, and I actually was not
Ouch.
fortunate enough to have medical insurance. So my parents were just kind of like, wrap it up, pop it back into place, keep going. And so yeah, about 4 times total, and so it just kind of never really healed right. So that's my chronic pain.
Wow, that does sound painful. So, how does cannabis help you to eliminate some of that pain? What formats help to reduce pain for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So cannabis helps a lot in just being able to stand on my feet. Like after a long day of doing what I need to get done, standing on my feet for a long period of time, my ankles and feet just ache. And so when I am able to medicate, it really helps me get through my day and not be in agonizing pain. It also helps me with my nausea because in the morning I will wake up and I will be gagging from nothing in my system. I will just feel really sick and really just yucky. And I actually medicate primarily on concentrate. Because in the morning, again, when I'm feeling that gagging emotion, I go take a dab, and then I'm good. I'm fine for at least three hours. Is pretty much like the time frame. I usually medicate once again to get an appetite to allow me to eat better, because usually I don't eat as much if I'm not medicated. I'll just kind of pick at my food. I won't really want to eat anything. I'll just kind of throw it away eventually. So cannabis definitely lets me have a healthy appetite, which is also very nice.
That's great. I know what that's like having gastroparesis. I'm often not able to eat, so cannabis also stimulates my appetite for me and quells down that nausea. So I can understand where you're coming from then, because if I don't medicate, I can't eat.
Oh, yeah.
I will be sick. Mm-hmm. So it's wonderful that we have that as an option for our
absolutely.
nausea. Now, when you say concentrates, that you use concentrates, what type of concentrates are you using, and what ingestion method of those concentrates do you like to use for your illness?
So concentrates, I usually primarily concentrate on so like shatter, butter, and I usually use the method of using it's a Luca. It's called a Q9. So it's an electronic e-nail that goes into your bong, which is legal in the state of Utah. So it's very nice. So I can still take that out of a bong. But also cartridges are still really nice. Super helpful to use. But those are usually my main forms. Tinctures every once in a while. That's usually what I like to do for sleep. Because that just kind of helps calm the body. Hits pretty quickly as well within 20 minutes, and then I'm just really good for about 8 hours and sleep's great. So
Nice. So as secondary conditions, that is something I'd also like to ask you about. So you're treating nausea and pain from your ankles, but sleep and insomnia are not an authorized or qualifying condition. although many patients have reported that they do get benefits in sleep. So you like to use a tincture more at night for sleep. What ratios do you prefer in that? Is it a high THC tincture, a balanced 1-to-1? What kind of tinctures do you use that help you more for your sleep?
I've actually found the best remedies for having the best, like, calming down in the middle of the night is more like 1-to-1 ratio, so THC, CBD, and CBG, just because CBG helps so much with the body calming down and relaxing. It's definitely made a big difference than just doing high amounts of THC or even just doing THC and CBD alone. The CBG just helps incredibly. I just do use tinctures out of state when I am there. But I have been able to find an edible in state of Utah from Zion. It's their plush cherry edibles. Those are 1-to-1-to-1. They are 40 milligram per though, so it is pretty high dose. But that's a really good brand of option, which is a 1-to-1-to-1. It's great. I absolutely love it.
That's good. I hope that there are other patients out there that hear the formats that Dana is using so that they can also benefit for sleep themselves. So that may be something that you want to talk to your pharmacist about to see if a formula ratio could help you with sleep as well. Although it's not a qualifying condition, again, in the state of Utah, it can be helpful for sleep and for insomnia. So Dana, one of the other questions I'd like to ask you, what are some of the other formats and formulations that you would like to see available in the state of Utah?
I would like to see better quality conditions in general. The thing is I am such a big concentrate person that when I see what's on the market in the state of Utah, it's very disappointing. From color to taste to the price point. It's just really upsetting because the average person is not able to buy $60, $80, $120 1 gram concentrate. 1 gram of concentrate is not going to last me very long with how often I use it and things like that. It's just, so that's very disappointing. So I would like to see more brands too. The more brands we get, hopefully the cost can come down. The more cultivators that we are able to get as well, the vendors would be able to get more product at a reasonable price. And then this would go out to all of the patients. That's what I would really want to see, in all honesty.
It would be nice if we could have some affordability in those ranges. Medical cannabis is a very expensive product to use. Our current federal regulation of cannabis restricts a lot of insurances to where they don't want to participate to cover the costs of medical cannabis. In the state of Utah, we have a very vast need for subsidy program in our state. There are multiple subsidy programs throughout the state, and a lot of patients really depend on those programs. But they are privately funded through donations, so it is very limited for what patients can receive in the way of help, and they're limited for how long they can be on those programs. Affordability for patients is something that is very dear to my heart. We will be working with UPOT to help patients in the state of Utah to raise money for the subsidy program. But I do agree with you, and I do think that it's unfair pricing on a lot of products that we have. There are overhead costs to, obviously, to cultivation and creation of these products. But I do feel like you do, that if we have more competitive marketing, we have more competitive cultivation, by having more and more products, we'd see those prices coming down for affordability. Mm-hmm. Dana, if there were one thing that you could see changed in the law directly, a law that you could see written in, what would you want to be changed in the law? Whether it's a format you want added on, is it smoking that you want available in the state? If there's a law you could change that says we could just have the freedom to grow, what would be your choice, one choice change in a law?
The one choice change in a law would definitely be the flame to flower law. Just because I have worked in the industry for like the last 2 years, and going in and explaining devices to elderly patients who have never tried this before, or they did when they were back in high school and they were able to roll it and do it with a lighter. I would see elderly patients be like, hey, do you sell papers? And then I'd have to explain to them, hey, no, it's not legal in the state of Utah. And they'll be like, well, why? You have to use this device. Well, how much is a device? Well, if you're getting a device, you want to go into a good quality. That can be like $300. But then that's way too expensive, because in the product, you're at least minimum purchasing like $60 for one product. If you're getting two, $120, it just kind of doubles in price. And so having flame to flower would just be easier, more accessible to people, so they understand, because then they would be able to do bongs, pipes, whatever they're able to do, or any other form. So it's just really quite upsetting that people will come in and be like, I cannot work with this. I need you to show me. Please show me. So that's always been the hardest thing on me, is being like, hey, no, you can't do it this specific way, something that you're used to, something that you probably did for ages in whatever state. And now they have to learn a completely new device, and it's not the same format that they were receiving before. Now it feels different, because in a dry hair vaporizer, products feel differently. They're going to give you more of a body high, or whatever you're going for, basically. So I think that would be the thing I would want to change, is definitely the flame to flower law.
Okay, so you would like to see combustion in the state as well. UPOT's also for combustion. We do support the method of consumption through combustion, and we hope that in the future that law will change. As Dana did state, the effect is completely different from when you smoke cannabis than when you vaporize cannabis. I myself travel out of state, and when I'm out of state, I do like to smoke. It has a completely different effect on my body, even the psychoactive for the mental psychoactive. I find that the terpene profile of flower from combustion is also better. Have you traveled out of state before and been able to smoke while you're out of state and use the combustion method yourself? And how did that feel different to you?
What's actually really great about going out of state is what I noticed, something that not all vendors in the state of Utah do yet, is that they'll put their terpene profiles in them, or on the packaging. They'll be like, hey, this has this terpene, this terpene, this terpene. You're like, oh, that's great. That's exactly what I want. In Utah, I've only seen that from maybe a handful of vendors who will let you know which terpenes are in them, which is really helpful. So yeah, when I do go out of state, I do look for those specific terpenes, more availability in different states. And the combustion is just definitely different. Dry hair vaporizers are great to get to that certain temperature points, but I'm not getting the full effect of the flower, is what I'm wanting more when it's combustion. So that's definitely what I look for when I go out of state, is the terpene profiles.
The terpene profiles. That's wonderful. Well, Dana, I want to thank you so much for joining me here today and sharing just a little piece of personal part of yourself for other patients to get to know what it is like to treat a pain condition from multiple times of having broken bones and the lasting pain that can leave in a lifetime, for nerve injury to aches in the joints. I'm glad to hear that it's also helping for your nausea and that you're getting sleep with this as well. Sleep is a part of the healing process, so I thank you for sharing a part of your story with us, and we hope that you'll join us again. You will see Dana in future episodes where we will go ahead and demonstrate her device that she uses for her vaporizing and for her concentrates. So you'll see a segment of that coming up here soon. So look for those videos, and we thank you for joining us today to join Dana for her testimonial. Have a great day.